Hey guys, Philipp Schaedler here, and more stuff to talk about in real estate. I know I just did a live report this morning, but there is more stuff on the horizon. And also at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a very, very good safety tip how you can save money from scammers when they call you. Anyway, so stay tuned. So let's just dive right in here. And let's have a look what we're going to talk about. So home buying just hit a 30-year low. This was done by these guys. Harvard University Joint Center for Housing Studies basically says that fewer people own homes now than any time the last 30 years. Well, I guess it's no surprise to you or anyone because the prices are high and the rates are high. And I think the high rates is really damaging future buyers because investors come in. I covered that in my last video. If you want to see that, also about how to protect yourself from title fraud, go to youtube.com and type in Philipp A. Schaedler and look at my live videos where I talk about title fraud protection. But here is another important tip that I want to give you at the end of this video. Let's go back to, so anyway, going back to the high prices and the high interest rates. I believe that if they don't lower the rate soon, they're damaging future buyers further because investors, as I covered in my last video, $56 billion of real estate was purchased in the last year by foreign investors, primarily from China, Mexico, Canada, and United Kingdom. And more than half or close to half was cash. So the cash investors love the high interest rates because they basically keep the buyers away, keep the competition away. So they go in low. And my listing, show you right here, my listing here already had offers from investors to $300,000 below asking price. You know, we just put in a new floor. It's a great unit in Brentwood, great location, very spacious, very bright. Anyway, so yes, at the moment, investors are the ones who keep the market busy, really, in a way, you know, and it's, you know, in a way it's good, in a way it's not good, right? Let's go back to this here. If rates, some people believe, if rates would hit 6%, 5.5 million families could afford to purchase a home in the United States. I would say it's more like 5% or 5.5% because prices are still high. Although in Vegas, with the biggest price reductions I've heard, there is massive downward trend on the market, downward pressure on the market. So very little activity. If you're thinking about buying, right, so you must check for government down payment assistance. This is very important because here's the thing. Some people just believe in the old days, maybe you could just go look at a house and you could afford it. You met an offer, you moved in, that was it. Well, it's changed quite a bit. Since prices are high and rates are high, what I would recommend is, number one, I would, first of all, consider going into a beginner home, a step-up home. In other words, you buy a smaller unit, a condominium, a townhouse or something, and later get into a house, later go higher up. It's the best way to build generational wealth, but it's also one way to get in. But one thing that's really important that people might overlook is the government has a lot of programs. They don't advertise it because the money they use for the programs is used for the programs. They don't have a marketing budget for that. So you have to kind of educate yourself about that or ask a lender. My lenders I work with is Kat Whitman and Ron Glasser. Those are the two best lenders I've ever worked with. They would know about this program. Some like to work with them, some don't. If they don't, they tell you that. But anyway, so in this particular case here, let me just show you. We had a lady come to our open house not too long ago to this listing, right? And then she applied for this. Even though there's my name up here, I do not get a kickback. This is just for them to keep record where the people come from. So you would choose an address, right? Let's just say 123 Main Street is where you want to be, or there's a house, you know, so you put in the address. Maybe you use the house next to it or a couple houses down. So you have the area, and then you fill in your information, your income, whatever. And then this lady, for example, told me that she was eligible for $118,000 down payment assistance. Right now, there were programs prior to COVID. One in particular I remember was California state funded. It's not the Dream for All program. That was a very controversial program, ran out of money really quickly, and it was kind of strange how it was handled. I think they're coming back with that program, but reconfigured. But no, that was a program where you would get $90,000 from the either county or state, don't quote me, or city even. And if you lived in a property for 5 years or longer, it was forgiven. Another deal we did in North Hills, there was a Hispanic couple, young couple, first-time home buyers, was very exciting. Were had a tough time getting into the property. It was $545,000 for 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo and townhouse. And I believe they've received $116,000 down payment assistance from the city. It was a very complicated deal, a lot of delays, and almost fell through. But because of Ron Glasser, the lender, he really made a big difference and really pushed this through. So the way that worked is that after 30 years, they pay off their mortgage. They paid $116,000 off after that, right? I think it was interest free. But still, yes, you're going to pay 40 years or whatever. But if you rent, you're going to pay forever as well. So, it's maybe they want to hand it down to their kids later on or whatever, build generational wealth. But the point I'm trying to make is the old ways of just going to buy a house, unless you have the cash, it's a different story. But I'm talking about if you have a certain amount of income and you really want to get into a home, you got to do your homework. You got to research every little avenue there is. There's little sneaky ways how you can get legal. Sneaky ways how you get through the maze, and one would be a great lender and a great realtor, so you can have a plan. And really, when you start thinking about buying, you should plan a year prior, clean up your credit, all this kind of stuff. I talked about this before. Let's go back real quick. I'm gonna make this as short as possible. What else we got here? Oh yeah, so Florida. This is interesting. Florida wants to do away with property tax, right? So this is right. No, this is not here. Where was it? Here. This would be. Here's the thing. Remember the days, I mean, I know we're far, far away from it. Remember the days where in the early days in this country, you would just stake out your land and made a perimeter, and that was your land. Maybe later on you register it. That was the way you acquire the land. Now, think about it. Now you have a piece of land that you purchased once, and you're paying taxes every single year. This is crazy in a way. Think about it. If at least, I think, for the 65-year-olds and older seniors, they should definitely do away with property taxes. They have a fixed income, they're struggling already. And why do you have to keep paying taxes for the same property over and over and over again? I mean, it's almost like, you pay for a car registration every year. Okay, I get it. That's to maintain the roads, but you don't pay the car tax, sales tax every year, which would be a similar situation, right? So I'm hoping that Florida succeeds with this because I think it's huge. And if they do succeed, then I hope that other states will follow, because I think that's just the best way to go, in my opinion. Okay, we are down at the end. The safety tip. Remember the safety tip on title fraud, how to protect yourself from title fraud, because title fraud is on the rise. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because a client of mine received a phone call from his utility company asking if he is aware that a man is trying to put his account in that man's name. Of course, it was a fraudulent attempt. They could take a loan out, whatever. But anyway, that information is in the video that I had done earlier this morning in the live. You can see it at YouTube. If you go to YouTube and just type in Philipp A. Schaedler, you will see the video there. And so now today's safety tip: one ring phone call. Do not call back. This is huge. Check this out.
Your phone rings once, and before you can pick up, the caller hangs up. They are not your contacts, so should you return their call? No. Scammers use one-ring phone scams to try to get you to return their call. If you do, you'll get hit with big per-minute charges on top of an international calling rate. So don't return calls from people you don't know. Learn more at ftc.gov/one-ring phone scams.
So clearly, I've had these phone calls as a real estate agent. I have to answer every call because it could be a client. And if somebody calls me and I'm in a meeting and I cannot answer it, yes, I do call back. However, if I see it's only one ring, I stay away from it, because that can cost you dearly, as you found out in this video. Anyway, if you have any questions, here's my number at the bottom of the screen, 310-918-2260. And if you have any real estate related questions, please call me anytime. And until next time, thank you so much for your attention and watching, and I hope this was helpful. If you have any input about the property tax or home purchasing issues, please leave it in the comment section and I will reply to that. Okay, thank you so much.